Hello everyone, welcome back to 360 Sports. We hope you had a great Thanksgiving, spent a lot of time with your family, but we're back, we're talking football today. I'm Jenna, that's Gavin, that's Alex, and that's Derrick, and we're just going to address the elephant in the room, the very big green elephant in the room.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! By the way, we did not coordinate this. We said, let's all show up in jerseys. Usually, there's people of opposing viewpoints here, but we did not coordinate this at all, and I am thoroughly pleased.
There is one person of opposing viewpoints.
We have a fraud among us.
I'm sorry.
We have a fraud.
I'm basically a fan. My roommate, living with him is...
He's affiliated.
Quite interesting.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just wait till playoffs come around.
He's affiliated.
He's in rebuild mode,
Yeah.
so he's a free agent for now.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we have to start out the show with the Eagles versus the Ravens game. Come on, I know all of you were watching it last night. The Eagles defeated the Ravens 24-19. Saquon, another amazing game, 107 rushing yards and a clutch touchdown. And then there's Justin Tucker.
Yeah, I don't know what that's
What have you done to him?
Yeah, I know.
My beautiful boy.
He missed a couple field goals. What do you guys think? Does this win make the Eagles the best team, not in the NFC, but in the league? Talk to me.
I got 3 letters for you.
Talk to me.
M-B-P, and his name is Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
This man is on track, and I think he will break Eric Dickerson's NFL rushing yards leader. And when you have a man like that on your team, I don't think anybody can beat you. I mean, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We have Saquon Barkley, and you don't. And I think that is very important. And not only that, we have an MVP caliber quarterback. Look at him and Josh Allen's stats. They're almost identical.
They are.
I know people will say Josh Allen, they're literally identical. Almost the same amount of total touchdowns. Their total yards are about the same as well.
95 apart.
Yeah, 95 apart. Good work. I mean, they're the same quarterback, and everyone's like, "Oh, Josh Allen's a shoo-in." Everyone was saying Lamar Jackson was a shoo-in. I'm telling you right now, if the Eagles keep their streak up, their schedule's not that hard. They don't have to travel much. If they keep this up, I think Saquon.
They could have 2 MVPs if you really want to talk about
Ooh.
it. They could have 2. We don't want to go there.
I agree with that.
And I don't believe we've ever had an MVP.
In our franchise history, we have not.
No, and I feel like this is the year.
This is the year.
I'm excited.
It's got to be.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, the Eagles they're looking really good. I gotta admit it. They've had a really hard schedule the past few weeks. I mean, they played the Commanders. They won that game. They beat the Ravens. Yesterday. And so they're looking pretty good. And I am a Patriots fan, but I will say when it comes to the playoffs, I'm definitely gonna be an Eagles fan.
He's affiliated people.
But as far as the Ravens, I mean, they're kind of having an up and down season.
Right.
I mean, I had high hopes for them coming into the year. But they started out 0-2 and then went on a 5-game winning streak, so they kind of started to have a bit of a comeback there. But it just seems that they can't put all the pieces together, right? They have a good offense. They have a really good defense. They have an MVP caliber quarterback, Lamar Jackson. And, I mean, we talked about it before, but Justin Tucker, actually my fantasy kicker, is not doing too hot.
There's a reason I put Tyler Bass on my team this week. I had Justin Tucker on my fantasy team the last 2 weeks. I trusted this man. He's been my kicker for years now. I had to cut him. I had to do it to him.
Yeah, he's having his worst season of his career this year.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. But the Eagles they're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
You already know how I'm feeling. Go defense, go Eagles, go Jalen Hurts, go Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
There's just so many high points in this game. I really love what I'm seeing from Jalen Carter. Jordan Davis had his best game as a pro, I will say that. And for a lot of us Eagles fans don't like Jordan Davis. I'm not so sure what that's about. Jordan Davis, exactly. Jordan Davis is there so people like Zach Bond and Kobe Dean could have breakout years like they are this
Did you hear Derrick Henry's name last night?
No.
That's
because Jordan Davis is
only
on the
because
team.
of Cooper DeJean.
That's true. Listen, when you have a team like this, in all phases of the field, special teams works together, the defense works together, the offense works together. Jalen Hurts really had most of his yardage and most of his impact, I want to say, in the second quarter. I think we could all agree with that notion if you watch the game. Second quarter was Jalen Hurts' quarter. Fourth quarter was Saquon Barkley quarter, and that's what got us across the game. That's what won us the game.
And that is not an Eagles-Ravens
game. That's not. It's not.
That is not.
It's not.
Kyle Hamilton is insanely good.
Very good.
I will say one thing. I think the Ravens, if they put it all together, they're a very scary team.
Lamar Jackson played bad last night. He was not good.
I agree.
Yeah. Overall,
and Aguilar, forever an Eagles legend. Forever an Eagles legend.
I was
Thank you for dropping that, Nelson.
I know.
Always, at all times.
But they still have, they have
Flowers.
Flowers.
Right.
They have Derrick Henry. I mean, they have a lot of good players.
Yeah,
so
they're a
I feel
tough
like
team.
if they make it, I feel like they will make it to the postseason. So I feel like they're going to be a scary team.
I think they need
Yeah.
another receiver.
Not one for you
Me
guys to
personally.
worry about
But-
until the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
To answer the question, yes, the Eagles are the best team in the NFL. I think both of the best two teams in the NFL are in the NFC.
Yeah.
And the only reason I will give the Eagles the edge over the Lions right now is because the Lions on Thanksgiving Day looked very beatable.
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Very beatable.
Jared-
If they came out and dropped 40 like normal, I would have said no. I'm going to respect the Lions, but
Yeah.
they came out and looked very beatable.
Jared
almost
Goff
lost.
looks beatable.
Exactly.
And speaking
That's my
of that
point, yes.
Thanksgiving Day, I mean, that was a great slate, but like the Lions-Bears game was.
Yeah, the Lions-Bears game was interesting, and the Cowboys beat the Giants, whatever. Packers scored 30 in a win against the Dolphins. So what are your thoughts on those games?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm a little disappointed in the Bears. They started off 4-2. They haven't won a game since. Obviously, it's Caleb Williams' rookie season, but I mean, he's showing some good signs. I just feel like he doesn't have the coaching staff around him to really, bump him up to the next level, maybe that we saw like C.J. Stroud at last year. So I'm a little disappointed with the Bears. And the Lions, although they do look beatable, I think they are definitely a very solid team.
Fair.
They've had some tough matches too that they've won.
I agree.
They haven't had an easy schedule. So I think the Lions are definitely a good team.
Yeah, they play in a really hard division.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
No, I think most of all, I think Jared Goff just looks beatable. You watch the
Yeah.
Texans game; they won in spite of him, and they flashed him up on an MVP graphic yesterday. I'm like, you might as well just put David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs up there rather than that guy,
Yeah.
because they keep winning in spite of him. I mean, 5 picks and they still beat the Texans. Like, I think it's more of a testament to their defense and their offensive line and running core. I think they're fantastic. I'm just saying, if you force Jared Goff to really go down the field, it's not like he doesn't have a great wideout. Amon-Ra's great.
He has
two great wideouts.
And a great tight end.
Yeah.
But like once you force him to make those tough throws, that's where you get like once he faces a good secondary. If they're not running the ball, they're kind of in trouble. And the Bears defense is not bad by any stretch of the night. They're just like they just don't execute, and that's why that got Eberflus fired. And and literally the encapsulation of the entire Chicago Bears season was those last 23 seconds of that game.
Yeah.
And everyone saw it, and it got Eberflus fired.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. He should have been fired for that.
I don't like calling for people's jobs. He should have lost his job.
And he did.
And that's really all you could really say about the Bears, honestly. But back to your approach about the Lions, the tape is out on Jared Goff. If you heat him up and he gets weary, you have a chance to win the game. He's going to give you multiple chances to intercept the football. The Bears did not do it. Other teams will. And that will be their downfall if they lose. If you can't heat him up because that O-line is top 2, then they might make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's really what it's going to come down to.
And one more thing, I think Caleb Williams is going to be great. There's 1 or 2
I do.
there's like 1 to 5 plays every single game you're like,
Yeah.
that's why he's the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why he's the number 1 pick. He makes those throws you're like, wow. No, I don't know too many guys that can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they fired their offensive coordinator.
Their offense got better.
in the middle of November. It got better, but they need something else.
It's
They
coaching.
need. I agree
the
with that,
offensive
but
line is
Players
trash.
were publicly celebrating online that they were like, Jaquan Brisker was like, oh man, this is great. Like, just feeling the grass. You would have thought the guy just like, literally just saw the sun for the first time in his life.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my take on the headlines, I would say I agree. I do think the Lions look very beatable right now. No one cares about the Cowboys or the Giants.
They are irrelevant.
Right, and the Dolphins, they're a mess. But the Eagles, what I will say, I do have to add, Smitty's hurt,
Yes.
Slay's hurt. So,
Reed was concussed.
right,
Goddard
Goddard
is hurt.
I'm just saying this Eagles team looks really well,
What
really,
is the
really
update on that
good.
injury?
They're
Does
deep.
anybody know?
Yeah.
The injury on Dallas. Do we know the update? I didn't get 2 to 3.
2 to 3
Okay.
weeks,
Okay.
Oh, come
I thought it was IR. That's why I was asking. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Well, you still got AJ and Saquon.
exactly.
Exactly.
AJ Brown is
A
amazing.
monster.
Yeah.
You know, watching a team
Monster.
like that, it makes you feel like you have like a lot of resources, and a lot of teams do.
They changed my
Yeah.
life.
We can talk about the Eagles forever, but we were just feeling thankful over Thanksgiving. But now we got to start feeling sorry. You know, it's that point in the season. Some players are doing great. Their teams, they just can't back them up whatsoever. So I want you to go to the board. Tell us the player that you feel bad for because their team is just not it.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's
We're
not.
going to start with Alex first. Go
Guys,
ahead.
it is December. It is December. It is a season of happiness and joy. That is, unless you're a Bengals fan. and that is unless you're Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a stat at you right now. Joe Burrow has 30 touchdown passes and under 5 interceptions. Now, there is a very short list of quarterbacks who have done that in NFL history. There's about 8, and most of them are Hall of Famers, or soon-to-be Hall of Famers. Now, what I'll tell you is, at least, for all of those quarterbacks, for the first 12 games, having those stats, almost all of them had at least 9 wins on their team. Now, this guy is the exception because his team's 4-8. The rest of these guys who are putting up these generational stats have at least 9 wins for their team, but the Bengals defense is so god-awful that they could not stop anything. They could not stop a parked car. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, this man is putting up generational stats, MVP numbers, and if his team was winning, he'd be right up there in the race with Saquon, Jalen, and Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen, but his defense is awful. And if they get that figured out, it would have to be next season because I think their season's lost right now, and I just got to feel awful for these two because Jamar's having a generational year, Joe's having a generational year, and you're just not seeing the results.
Would you like me to read the quarterbacks out for you? Or would
Yeah,
you like to
you can read the quarterbacks.
Okay.
It's sad, man.
So I did definitely look at your statistics here. It's Aaron Rodgers 3 times. Great guy. Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady. So all Hall of Famers.
Yeah, 2 of those guys were 12-0. Like, these are typically winning stats. It's unbelievable the fact that they have found so many different ways to lose.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact has the defensive coordinator been fired yet? Like, I feel like they should get him fired.
Zach got to go too. The head coach is.
He goes for it up for too much, man.
He's very much a stagnant guy. He reminds me of Mike McCarthy. I'm not gonna say he's a bad coach, but it's just like, sometimes you could just say he's there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what are you adding?
Yeah.
And sometimes you could say that about the Eagles coach too, but he's on a win streak, so we're gonna
Yeah,
let off him.
we'll stand behind him today.
I mean, I feel like Jamar Chase he's one of the best receivers in the league, right?
Yes, definitely.
And Joe Burrow, one of the best quarterbacks in the league,
Got 'em
right?
both in fantasy.
So if you have both of those players and you still can't win games because of your defense, so I agree with you. I think the DC needs to be fired, and I think the head coach needs to be fired. They need to make a change. And they did make the Super Bowl, right? With Zach.
They made the Super Bowl
Right?
with Eli Apple, man. Like,
It's been their defense for years,
Right.
and they that's because they had a bad O-line, but they refused to allocate resources to the defense.
Yeah.
Got to be a
So-
balanced football team.
when you they lost. Like, I think they should have retained Jesse Bates. Like, and they didn't.
Yeah, that was a bad.
That's awful.
But then you have so much cap going into 3 players: T. Higgins, Jamar Chase,
Yeah.
and Joe Burrow. You couldn't even retain Mixon. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of players that
They're
had
running
to
into a Saints problem here.
exactly.
They have
It's a
so
lot
much
of players
talent.
that had to.
Yeah.
And if one of them
Leave.
goes down, the entire franchise goes down with it. When you tie up all of your resources into such few assets, you are basically putting all of your eggs in one basket. And the problem is that all of those eggs are in the basket right now, and it's still not working.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, get over there, Gavin.
All right.
Let's see what you
So
got.
I'm going to go to the other side of the ball, defensive side, a little bit, maybe of an underrated pick. I got Max Crosby
I like it.
from the Las Vegas Raiders. So this past weekend against the Chiefs, a game that the Raiders almost won, probably should have won, he had 4 tackles and a sack. Since entering the league in 2019, Crosby has had 52 sacks, which is 5th amongst all defensive players. So that's pretty impressive. And then he's also clutch when it matters most in the 4th quarter and overtime. He has a quarterback pressure rating of 120. So he's really, putting some pressure on that offensive line and getting to the quarterback. But the Raiders they're god awful. They have a below average quarterback in Aiden O'Connell. They lost Devontae Adams in pretty much the middle of the season to the Jets. So they really don't have anyone to throw the ball to. So I feel pretty bad for Max Crosby, one of the best defensive players in the league. So yeah, that's my pick.
I like it.
A little
I like it
different,
too.
but
No,
Like,
it's
no,
good.
Max Crosby.
Max Crosby's elite, and I think they should have
Yeah.
traded him.
yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, if you're going to go trading Adams, you might as well just go full rebuild.
Him and Myles Garrett, just bad organizations,
Yeah.
great players, bad teams.
Yeah. I think the Browns could be good, but they just need to sign Jameis Winston to a lifetime contract because he's funny.
Because he's funny is probably the only reason you'd sign him. So I like the thought process.
Derrick,
My turn?
You're
Okay,
up.
Let's go. I'm sorry, I wore Kelly Green and I went with a rival. It's kind of cheeky of me.
Oh, man, he's going to...
I'm going to go with a Cowboys player.
Ah,
Wow.
DeMarvion Overshown. He did not get to play his 2023 campaign, so this is his first season playing. The man has missed games this season as well. He has 84 tackles, 5 sacks, a pick, and a touchdown. In all, I think 7 games. Kid's a stud. Kid is a stud. You're doing this as technically a rookie. You have to get props. He plays on a bad team, and he's not an outside linebacker. He is an interior linebacker with 5 sacks. That is unheard of at this level in this amount of games. Him, Micah Parsons, and that's about it, have been a bright spot for the Dallas Cowboys this season. For them to continue, they're going to need to move off of bigger contracts like Dak Prescott, maybe even CeeDee Lamb, sign players like this who play a role and continue to build that way. It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
It's a good pick.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty clean. It's generous, you know?
I know.
I love that, honestly.
I know. I went
I
the
love
same
everything
direction.
that the team he's on.
Yeah. He's a great player. He's really fast, too. Like,
He's no
if you
turbulent.
watch, he pops off the tape.
All right, so I kind of went the similar direction. Don't hate on me. I think this makes it a little better. He went to Penn State.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going with Micah Parsons. How can you not feel bad for him? He did say after the game to Aaron Andrews that he thinks the team, what did he say? They're going to turn it around or something and make a run.
They're coming.
Yeah, they're going to make a
Quote,
U-turn.
it's not
after
I
losing.
don't see that happening. They're 5-7, but Micah Parsons is really, really good. He leads this team. Since he's come back from Week 10, the injury, he has led the NFL in passing pressure, and then has also led the NFL in sacks. He's got 7. So I think that's really good. And I think he deserves a lot of credit. He's sticking with Dallas. Some things he says on his podcast are questionable, but you know what? He went to Penn State. Great guy. I feel bad for him.
He wants to be an Eagle
He
really
wa-
bad.
I know.
He wants to be an Eagle really
He wants
bad.
to be
I
on
know
that
he wants to be an
podcast
Eagle.
with Slay
He
so
wants to be an
bad.
Eagle
I
really
know.
bad. Just wait 2 more years.
I
And
feel
take a
like-
pay cut.
Yeah.
Might have something for you.
Dude,
Just
we'll be
make
the
it.
number
Yeah.
one podcasting sports city, dude. We'll have Podcast P, we'll have
yeah.
Slay, and then we'll have Micah Parsons. I just
Podcast
can't
P.
wait.
That's a bad.
He
football
also
club.
definitants wants to play
That's what
with
his name. That's
Saquon,
the name of the
too.
podcast.
He wants to play with
100%.
Saquon,
Yeah.
right? So
I know.
I mean, we'll see how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think everyone's picks were pretty good.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on to some highlights. Let's watch some Week
Let's do it.
13 highlights.
I'm intrigued.
We're gonna start off. I'm just gonna show you a bunch of wild plays, both good and bad. So
Okay.
let us know your thoughts. We got some interesting ones here. First one, Josh Allen receiving touchdown yesterday after Amari Cooper threw him a lateral while being tackled. What are your thoughts?
Have a week, Josh Allen. Dang.
That's a crazy play. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
but he didn't get credit for
He did not.
Yeah,
He
For the
did not get
touchdown?
credit.
Yeah.
No.
I believe it was initially scored as a 7-yard touch. Josh Allen, 7-yard touchdown pass to Josh Allen.
No way.
It was, yeah.
That's
Yeah, he got
that's
all the credit in the
crazy.
box score, so I think that's pretty wild.
Yeah, fantasy owner's dream.
Yeah.
I mean, this game
honestly.
was very fun to watch.
It was.
I mean, the snow was absurd.
Yeah.
We've been
Yeah,
exploring
this is a
McCaffrey.
crazy. This is a crazy play.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't want the Bills to win, only because
That's a good
implications
catch,
for
too.
MVP.
Yeah, that is.
But at this point, watching the 49ers lose was actually better. So
Yeah.
I was
I
wrong.
cannot stand that team. I am
I'm
so
wrong.
glad they lost.
This is great.
I know, I agree. Well, let's move on to the next one. Adam Thielen had this crazy catch for a touchdown, but the refs ruled it incomplete. Do you guys think it was a touchdown?
I don't know how I'm looking at his knee in bounds.
I can't see the
So-
ball when his knee hit and then
Yeah.
his arm hits. You know the crazy thing is?
Oh,
Here we
New
go. Here we go. Here we go.
New angle.
I'm pretty sure that's a catch. Yeah, where's the bobble?
That's totally a
Yeah, I don't
catch.
see any
That's
bobble.
That's a catch.
I don't see
That's
any
definitely
bobble.
a catch. You know, I
Wait,
think
what was their argument?
That wasn't
That
even
he
his
didn't have
best catch of
control
the
or
game.
Yeah, he didn't have
He had a
control.
crazier catch later on.
Let's
Control. I'm
I
pulling
mean,
it in.
he pulled-
I'm tucking the
pulled
ball.
it in.
Right, I'm tucking
He
the ball.
tucked it.
That's a catch.
That's a catch.
He literally pulled
Secure.
it
Yeah,
out.
that's my
Yeah.
personal. Any you
That
got an
is
elbow
a
end in me.
catch.
That's a catch in my opinion.
If
Yeah.
that's not a catch, I don't know what is. That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
No.
he made
Really a
another,
catch.
like, falling backwards,
saw
one-hand
that
catch.
one. Oh, yeah.
And then the
Just
guy
wait.
fumbled it right after, the story of the Carolina
Bryce
Panthers.
Young has
Oh,
looked
we're going to get there.
really good.
Let's check that out. So in the same game, Thielen made another crazy catch in overtime, but then Carolina's running back, Chuba Hubbard, fumbled, and the Bucs beat the
Wow.
Panthers. Can
In
this
real
team
time,
catch
this
a
is
break?
crazier. It was
No.
it was a dart, too.
Yeah,
I
that's
know.
an insane catch.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Chubbs.
Chuba Hubbard. Buddy,
Chubbs.
I will stop starting you in fantasy.
I won't.
Dude,
But
we got 2 points.
listen, everybody has a bad week. Give him some grace. He's my starting
Everyone
back.
had a great week on my bench. It was
I just want to
awesome.
say one thing quickly.
Yeah.
I think Thielen is someone we could have talked about in the last
I
segment
agree.
too. Trey,
I do agree with that.
True.
He's a really good receiver. I think a little underrated, honestly. And he's on a pretty pathetic team.
Yeah.
His career has been so weird because they were trying to paint him to be better than Diggs, which I never thought he was.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
And then
he's
he
not
moved
better
up to
than
Diggs,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then his production never increased. He just stayed the same.
Same.
Yeah.
And he's always been very consistent. He
Man,
reminds
he's
me-
34.
He's
man.
not the
consistent.
level of Mike Evans, but he has
Right.
Mike Evans levels of consistency, which
Yeah.
is very
He's
interesting.
He's just dealt with some injuries, man. But he's 34. He knows what he's doing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're making those kind of athletic plays at 34 really says something about who you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true.
I agree. Well, let's move on to division scramble.
I like it.
There are a couple of teams that are in absolute dogfights to win their division, so I want you to take a look at those close divisions and give me a team that you think will end up winning it. Let's take a look at the divisions. We've got the AFC North, NFC West, NFC North, and NFC South. So give me your teams. We'll start with Alex.
You know, they say he didn't write back, and I think Gino is definitely going to write their way into an NFC West championship. And I think just the number one reason is that they've been there, and they know how to get there. They know how to win these late season games. They have a good home field advantage, and they have a lot of division games. They have a lot of chances to make it happen themselves. They control their own destiny, which all of these other teams, they just don't have the same ability. And they play the Cardinals again. The Cardinals scored 6 points against them. They won 16-6. They can win in multiple ways. The Cardinals aren't a world beater, but I think they're going to host a home playoff game because they just have great talent on that team. And I think when you have such a, like, let's be honest, it's a mediocre division.
That's what I was going to say.
I think the team with the most talent is just going to end up, it's the cream rises to the top. And I think when you have a veteran quarterback like Geno Smith who knows what he's doing, you have great wideouts, and you just have some playmakers on defense, I think that's all you're going to need. And their schedule's kind of favorable because now the Vikings and Packers are not exactly easy, but I think they're beatable. And then the rest of them are, and then the other one is the Bears is the last non-division opponent, and then the rest of them are in division. I think if you win those two division games, I feel like that's 9 wins. And if you win one of those non-division games, I think you're in 10 wins in that division. So I think the Seahawks are going to pull it out.
Yeah,
I think that's a great point. I will say, though, besides when my Patriots beat the Seahawks in 2014,
Right.
the Seahawks are always one of those teams. They're always good. They make the playoffs, but they don't make it far.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
while I do agree with your pick because they're in an okay division, I don't know how far I see them making it in the playoffs. Just because I know you're picking to win the division, but I think the NFC is just too good.
I think it's so top heavy. I think it's. I
Yeah.
don't think there's any. You would be hard pressed to not have the NFC Championship game be Eagles Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if it
100%.
wasn't that.
I don't know.
Well, it'd
What
have
do
to
you
be an
think?
injury.
I don't know.
You're saying
Who's the
I
third
don't
team?
I think the Rams, if the Rams saw Detroit, I think the Rams could win. If the Rams saw Detroit, they have enough firepower. It'd be a shootout, and it'd have to be a shootout. But I think the same points that you were making about the Seahawks are the same points I can make about the Rams. They have a better running back, in my opinion, and a more reliable running back. They have the best receiver in that division. They might have the second best receiver in that division, and they have the best quarterback.
Yeah.
I like the Rams, me personally. The only thing that you can say is they play
Their run defense is awful.
but they play the Niners, they play the Bills, they play the Cardinals, Jets, and Seahawks. So the Seahawks are actually their last game. I think Crystal Ball, I like to call myself
That's gonna decide the
forecaster.
division.
I think it'll be that game. But once again, I think the Rams, I think it's very much theirs to lose because that offense is a lot to handle for any team.
It could be a coin
That
flip.
offense is a lot to handle.
It could be a coin flip. The Rams and Seahawks, they played a game already this year, and it went to OT. And let's be honest, right, the Seahawks should have won that. But that game was crazy, and I think they're very evenly matched. I think it could go either way.
It depends on their pass rush. If
Yeah.
Jared Verse and their other rookie standouts show up, they're going to win.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
So, I mean, I'm kind of going to take the boring pick, but I think the Lions will definitely win their division.
Yeah.
They've already beat the Vikings and the Packers, which, by the way, the Packers are a little sneaky, in my opinion. They're not talked about
they
enough.
They did not just beat the Packers. They trounced them.
Well, they did. But I do think the Packers are a little underrated. Anyways, but they have Amon-Ra, they have Sam Laporta, they got Jahmyr Gibbs, they've got a bunch of other good players. Their defense is amazing without Aiden Hutchinson. They do have a tough remaining schedule, so we'll kind of see their true colors. They play the Packers again. They play the Vikings again, and they play the Bills in 2 weeks, which would be a great game.
Yeah.
But they are averaging the most points in the NFL so far with 31.9. So I don't know. I think Eagles, Lions, I'm taking Eagles.
Yeah.
But I do think the Lions will win this division. Competitive division.
I want to see them against another good pass rush.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Derrick?
Only thing I want to see is them against another good pass rush. I just want to see if Jared Goff gets heated up again, is he going to turn the ball over?
Yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Goff would be great if he could get out of the pocket. He's purest pocket passer, like he's pure as you can be. But I mean, like with the Eagles, like it's very hard to see the one part in which he would attack them. But like it's very clear what the Lions' problem is. And I wouldn't say it's much of a problem. Jared Goff's a great quarterback. He's a good to great quarterback. He's not elite. And that is the one hole you could poke in that.
I do agree with that.
The Lions have a hole you could poke. The Eagles don't really have that,
Yeah.
except for injuries.
I understand.
Fair.
I just think that the offensive weapons they have help him more than Jared Goff hurts them, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
I like to think, Jared Goff's great for that system. The same way Brock Purdy was last year. I don't think Brock Purdy's an elite quarterback. I think he's a fantastic system quarterback, which is not a knock on Brock Purdy. He's doing what his job is supposed to be, winning games.
Yeah.
He's winning games. That's what he's supposed to do, but he's just not going to make championship-defining plays.
Yeah.
Right.
All
All
right.
right.
We'll see.
I'm good.
You're good?
No,
Oh,
you're
okay. Okay,
I
perfect.
got the Rams.
So I chose the Bucks because they have had, it's been 3 straight losses for Atlanta. They've turned the ball over 4 times, and I just think that it comes down to the Bucks having an easier schedule to close out the season. That's what I think it's going to come down to. The Falcons did beat them twice. I know that. I understand that, but I think the Bucks somehow will still find a way to win the division, just because Atlanta's just not looking hot right now.
I think the Bucks. I think you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the Bucks have the best quarterback in their division.
They have a lot of grit. A lot of grit, and I like it, honestly. I don't personally, as an Eagles fan, I hate playing the Bucks because it's
Yeah.
it's almost a guaranteed loss. I don't
I
understand
know.
what it is, but it's a guaranteed
Something.
loss, and I just rather not deal with it. But if they make it, good for them. I can't be
Yeah.
mad at them.
I like the Bucks. I mean, Mayfield's like 50-50, right? He turns the ball over too much.
Yeah.
But I was going to say this a little bit ago, but something that's so important, I feel, now in the NFL is having a versatile quarterback, right? Mayfield's able to get out of the pocket, unlike what you were saying, Jared Goff, and can use his legs to make some good plays. So I think, that's what, really gives them a little bit of an advantage over some of these other teams in their division. But is Mike Evans out for the year?
I don't know. It's
Is
very
that-
tricky.
I think Mike
Yeah.
Evans is out for the year. I think he tore his ACL.
Research.
But,
I think it was Godwin.
or was it Godwin?
I think it was
It was,
Godwin.
okay. It was Godwin.
I'm pretty sure I saw him.
I'm not
I
positive.
thought-
I knew it was
thought
one of them.
I'm either tripping or I thought I saw him playing
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
You might be right. I knew it was one of them. But yeah, I do
He
agree with your
returned.
pick.
He should be
Yeah.
out
I do
there.
agree with your pick.
I was like,
So it was Godwin. But,
Okay. So tonight we have the Browns taking on the Broncos for a Monday night showdown. It's not a very exciting game, but Bo Nix has looked awesome, and Jameis is giving Cleveland some life. So who's going to win this game?
I will tell you who will have the best pregame speech of all time. And
I like that.
I love Jameis Winston. I mean, that's really all I really love about the Browns. I mean, I love Myles Garrett too. Actually, don't get me wrong, I love him too. They have some pieces, but like Broncos are just more talented, man.
Yeah.
And Bo Nix is definitely the better quarterback, and they're hot right now. And I think Sean Payton's really found a groove. And I think a big part of it is like Bo Nix profiles a lot. Not a lot, but he's more like Drew Brees than Russell Wilson was. And Sean Payton coached Drew Brees for over a decade. And I feel like he's more comfortable with that kind of system and that kind of quarterback.
Agreed.
And I think Bo Nix thrives in that kind of system where he can kind of get out there. He likes being more mobile, right? Using himself as an athlete. And I really, really like Cortland Sutton. I really love all the pieces they have there, and I think their defense has been good. I think it could be elite.
Yeah.
They have the pieces for it. So I think they're going to beat them by 2 scores.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like that pick.
yeah, I think this game's going to be close, but the Broncos will win. But I think this Bo Nix story is pretty interesting. He's having a great season, which I personally didn't expect.
Yeah.
Started off at Auburn, didn't really have the best time there. Went over to Oregon, played very well at Oregon. But I just, didn't really see him as being a great quarterback in the NFL, but he's playing really well.
Yeah.
So I think the Broncos got this one.
I didn't even see him being a first-round pick, and he's totally justified it.
Yeah, he has. I agree.
I like Bo Nix. I'm going to take the Broncos. I like their consistency, but I do think it'll be a close game. This is a trap game for the Broncos.
Yeah.
2016 type of score.
The Browns have played some close games against some good teams.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
the
they
Eagles,
beat the Steelers, yeah.
Yes, I agree.
But they're bad. They're bad.
They are a bad
They're
team,
bad.
let's be wrong.
All right.
They're fun to watch at some points, but
Yeah.
they're bad.
Yes. Well, that's all the time that we have today, guys. We could keep talking forever, but let's shout out tomorrow's show, college football.
Should
It's
be
an
fun.
exciting topic.
Should be fun, yeah.
it
Got a
is.
big weekend ahead.
Right.
We do have a big week
A
ahead.
B1G weekend ahead.
Yes.
That's what you did
Yes,
there.
we
That's what you did
do.
there.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, fly, Eagles, fly.
Go Birds.
We're coming for you, Oregon.